I'm Shannon.
And I'm Holly.
And this is a Girls Gone Curious podcast, where we talk about things that make us curious. So grab your favorite drink, sit back and relax because your show is loading. Today's episode includes the following trigger warnings: mentioning topics of strangulation, bodily harm, and murder. This podcast is not suitable for children. Please listen with care. This is part 24 of 50 States, 50 Cases. Today we will be covering the states of Washington and West Virginia. We apologize if we say any of the names or places wrong in today's cases.
Before we get into today's cases, I am sorry if I sound different. I am still getting over a cold, which is why we did not post last week. So getting into today's first case, this will take place in the state of Washington. At some point in almost everyone's life, we go through a rebellious stage. Whether that is skipping school or just doing something your parents or guardians wouldn't approve of. But sometimes teenagers can cross a line that is beyond just being rebellious. And that is exactly what Alex, Benari, and David Anderson did. A couple of kids were enjoying their weekend on January 4th, 1997. Just playing in the park, doing whatever kids were doing at that time. Getting close to the brush line, one of them noticed what looked like a pile of clothes. Not thinking much, they just went back to playing. But even after they got home, it was still nagging in their minds. The next day on January 5th, they would go back to it. This time, it wasn't just clothing, but a body. Running home, they told their parents, and their parents called 911. Police would arrive at the scene and find a young woman's body. She had dark hair and had a small frame. Her face was swollen, bruises covering her body, hands covered in scratches, which were believed to be defensive wounds, and she had a cord wrapped around her neck. This woman would be Kimberly Wilson. Kimberly Wilson was born on September 21st, 1976, in Bellevue, Washington. She was only 20 years old when her life was taken from her in 1997. Many people said Kim was happy to just do her own thing. In her younger years, she was in Girl Scouts and she was in swimming. Towards the later years in high school, she would begin to rebel against her parents, which pretty much any teenager would do.
Mm-hmm.
But it almost caused her to not graduate because she missed so much school. Even though she did rebel against her parents, she never was really into drinking and partying or doing drugs. She would just often meet up with friends. When Kim did graduate in 1995, she took off a year before signing up for the AmeriCorps. This isn't necessarily what her parents wanted her to do, so it caused arguments in the family. No missing persons reports were made about Kimberly, so the next thing would be to go to her family's house. Detective Jeff Gomes would have to be the one to break the unfortunate news to Kim's family members, that her daughter was found dead at Woodridge Water Tower Park, only a few blocks from their house. Once he arrived, he noticed 3 cars parked in the driveway. This was a suburban home in a quiet neighborhood. The next thing he noticed was the Christmas lights were still up and on, but everything else in the house looked dark. Knocking on the door, there was no answer. Walking around, he saw the back door slider was unlocked and slightly open. Yelling inside there, yet again, was no answer. Arming himself with his gun, he walked in. Nothing seemed concerning until he got to the top of the stairs. There was blood covering the floor, walls, and ceiling. Entering the master bedroom, Kim's mom, Rose, was lying on the bed. She had multiple stab wounds to her throat, and her face was beaten with a heavy blunt object. At the foot of the bed was Kim's dad, William. He also had multiple stab wounds along with his spinal cord severed. On his back was a bloody boot print.
Oh my God.
Down the hallway laid Kim's sister, Julia. She had multiple stab wounds to her face and neck. She also had a broken arm, which makes police believe she fought back more than the murderer wanted. This was a brutal attack that seemed personal. William Wilson Jr. was born on November 10th, 1944, in Portland, Oregon, only 52 years old when he was killed. He was known for his quiet sense of humor and his calm, peacekeeper personality. William was an engineer, and many coworkers said he was a generous guy and you could talk to him about anything. Being the type of person to show up to work early and stay late. His boss called him loyal and the type of employee you could always count on. Rosalie Wilson, also known as Rose, was born on March 31st, 1950, in Seattle, Washington. Only 46 years old when she was killed. She worked in retail, and many co-workers said she was warm, outgoing, and always smiling. Rose was full of energy and excitement for life. She was also part of a group of close-knit friends she lived with in her college years. Julia Wilson was born on July 4th, 1979, in Bellevue, Washington. Only 17 years old when she was killed. She was a senior in the same high school Kim graduated from. She spent her time playing the flute and writing poetry. Many people would describe her as a quiet, shy, and sweet girl, also saying she wasn't the type to make big waves. Overall, the Wilson family seemed like a normal, close-knit, and loyal family. But digging a little further, not everything was perfect in the family. But that's to be expected. Not every family is perfect. I don't think there is a single perfect family out there.
Yeah. And if they look too perfect, then
something's wrong.
They're hiding something.
Yeah.
And we will find out.
Yeah. Detectives would go door to door asking neighbors if they knew or heard anything happening in that house. All of them would say they heard nothing and saw nothing. Also mentioning it was a quiet night that night. Talking to Kim's old school counselor, they said there were a lot of arguments that happened. There was tension between Kim and her parents, especially during her senior year. Police believe that this was mainly because Kim was doing things or wanted to do things that her parents didn't want her to do. One record does show a domestic disturbance was reported on December 28, 1996, a year before the murders. A neighbor called it in saying there was a lot of screaming and fighting. But nothing really came of this and no further reports were made. Kim was friends with some people that were part of a group called the Saturday Night Denny's Club, which is a group of teenagers and young adults that would meet at Denny's to talk, hang out, and eat there. Now, Kim didn't attend these meetings very often, if at all. She just knew people who were part of this group. Most of the group's conversations would be fantasies or rebellious related, talking about doing petty crimes or making up fantasy stories. They would also play games like Dungeons and Dragons. This group was also mainly goth people. A lot of them were people who didn't fit into regular crowds. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. People talk about all kinds of things all the time. Most of everything they talk about just being that, talking, not taking actual action. But two people in this group would raise a couple of concerning things. Two 17-year-old boys. The two boys I mentioned earlier, Benarney and Anderson, would often talk about murder. It would come to a point where every meetup they would talk about killing people, even creating a kill list. At first, it worried some of the other people in the group, but it got so consistent that it became normal. And on their kill list, could you guess who one of those names were? Kimberly Wilson. While police talked to Kim's friends that were a part of this group, the same two names would be repeated and would continuously come up, Benarney and Anderson. One of these people would also mention that the two boys would not only talk about killing Kim, but the entire Wilson family. Them talking about killing went as far back as 1995. While questioning both Anderson and Benarney, they seemed very calm and not rattled at all, which is a little weird when you're being told that a whole family has been murdered. Mm-hmm. They say that they were both at Benarney's home that night of the murders, that they were having a boring night playing video games. The police didn't believe them at all. At the crime scene, there were boot tracks, a very unique and specific type of boot print. When questioning Benarney, they asked to see his shoes. He would show them one pair of brown work boots, which didn't match. He claimed it was his only pair of shoes, but the group of people he would meet with said that was a lie. He did have a brown pair of boots, but he also had another pair he wore frequently. Asking neighbors of Benarney, they said they saw Benarney that night, but he left the house around 10 p.m. in a black truck. When the neighbor went to bed around 3 a.m., they still hadn't gotten back home. Another neighbor said the same thing, but this neighbor was up around 4 a.m. And around that time is when Benarney and the black truck got back. Re-questioning Benarney, it didn't take long for him to confess. He basically said, okay, I wasn't at home that night. He had lured Kim to the park, and after she got there, he would strangle her. He would hide her body in the bushes. Benarney said he wasn't planning to kill the Wilson family, but in the moment he panicked, thinking what if she told her parents where she went and who she was meeting up with, and if they knew, it was game over. So the only right thing to do was to kill them, basically to get rid of the loose ends. Complete BS. Grabbing a bat and a knife, he headed over to the Wilson home, slipping in through the sliding door that he claimed was already open. Going up the stairs, he killed Rose first. She was sleeping when he hit her in the head with the bat and began stabbing her. This got William's attention. I don't know if he was sleeping or if he was somewhere else and heard the screams and came barging in. The sources weren't really specific on that. But William was stabbed and beaten next. At the time, Julia was studying for a chemistry test when she heard the commotion. As she was walking down the hallway, she was attacked. This is when she fought back, and he broke her arm and stabbed her. Bernardi wouldn't run. Instead, he would walk through the house and take anything that he liked. This would be a phone, CD player, and VCR. When he is telling his version of events, he shows no emotion and what looks like no remorse for what he did. He would also claim he did it alone. The only problem with that is the police had evidence that more than one person was there. At the crime scene, there were 2 sets of boot prints. This just confirmed what police believed in the first place, that there were 2 killers, or at least 2 people there at the time of the murders. Bernardi would later admit to having an accomplice. However, he refused to ever give the name of that person. While his accomplice was talking to Kim, he would sneak up behind her and start strangling her. This accomplice would beat her as he's strangling her. It doesn't really take a lot to guess who the accomplice would be. Obviously, Anderson. But Bernardi never admits to that. Questioning Anderson again, he would change his story, saying he wasn't actually at Bernardi's playing games. He was actually borrowing his girlfriend's dad's truck, driving from Seattle to Bellevue alone. Anderson claimed that he knew Bernardi was planning on killing the Wilsons for a while, but he didn't take part in it. Another complete BS. The neighbors of Bernardi would also tell police they saw both Bernardi and Anderson leaving his house together that night. Police filed and obtained a search warrant for both of their houses. In the search, they would find all the stolen items from the Wilson house and the boots used during the murder. They were still covered in blood, and the DNA matched multiple Wilson family members. In Anderson's room, they found the book, How to Get Away with Murder. Anderson's girlfriend would confirm that he did borrow her dad's truck, but said he wasn't driving between Seattle and Bellevue. He was just sitting in a park the whole time with the car running. Trials began in October of 1998. Prosecutors would try to get both of them tried together. The court disagreed and tried them separately. Bernardi's trial was first. It was a very quick trial. They deliberated for 3 hours, and he was sentenced to 4 consecutive life sentences for first-degree murder without the possibility of parole. 1 life sentence for each life he took. When asked if he had any last words to say, he shrugged and said, "No, I don't think so."
What the fuck?
A week later, Anderson's trial was a little more complicated. He hired and fired multiple lawyers for, I believe, really stupid reasons. His first trial ended in a mistrial with a hung jury. 1 juror refused to convict Anderson of anything. His second trial went by faster, convicting him of first-degree murder. He was sentenced to 4 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole. Now here comes the bullshit. In 2012, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled sentencing juveniles to life without the possibility of parole violates the 8th Amendment's protection against cruel and unusual punishment. In 2014, Washington acknowledged that juveniles must be treated differently than adults in the eyes of the law. Children and teenagers have different levels of culpability than adults when it comes to sentencing. They have a different maturity and accountability. All juveniles sentenced to life without possibility of parole or ordered to be resentenced. Under the new rule, Anderson was sentenced to 33 years to life with the possibility of parole. In October 2024, Benarney was resentenced to 46 years to life with the possibility of parole, being able to go before the parole board as early as 2043. According to court documents, they had been planning to kill the Wilson family for over a year, and they wanted to make sure to do it before their 18th birthday so they wouldn't get the death sentence.
Such bullshit. Like, there's a reason why certain cases involving juveniles get tried as adults.
Yeah.
I understand that they weren't 18 at the time, but they knew what was going to happen. If they knew the laws and had books planning out and had documentation of how they were planning to kill these individuals.
Yeah. I just hope when they go to the parole board, they don't get out.
Yeah. I hope that the victims' families are able to either write letters or something of the nature so that these two don't get out.
Yeah.
If that's what they did when they were 17, what the hell are they going to be like when they get out of jail?
Yeah.
If they get out of jail.
Plus, jail life probably could have made them want to kill more.
Right.
So I have a couple mentionings and questions. Benarney said he wanted to kill someone because he was stuck in a rut and wanted to experience something truly phenomenal. I don't know how phenomenal goes with killing people, but...
Yeah, I don't understand. Like, go on vacation.
Yeah.
I don't
I'd
know
rather
what to say
you
to that.
go do fucking drugs than...
Right.
As Benarney was leaving the courtroom, people were filming and asking questions, like the news and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And all he does was smile, like a genuine smile, and say no comment.
I'm actually surprised they didn't, like, yeah, absolutely, let me blah, 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 let me spew this bullshit all over because of, like, wanting to be known for...
Yeah, I think he was... I don't know how to explain it, but, like, keeping it to himself. Like, maybe he had pride in what he did and that he doesn't talk to anyone. In Benarney's confession tape, he said, "When I realized I was strangling her, I remember seeing her face turn blue, and I just couldn't stop." That is so fucked up.
Yeah, that pretty much summarizes it.
Yeah. I don't know if it was Anderson's parents or family, or if it was Anderson and Benarney's family, but I know for sure it was Anderson's family that didn't believe he did it. They say someone planted it on him. Yeah.
Okay.
One source said that the main reason why they did it was because Kim loaned Anderson a couple $100, and she kept asking him to pay her back, and that apparently made him annoyed and angry enough to kill her. It was also said that she made him sign a promissory note. That's pretty much all my mentionings, but I have a couple questions. Was Anderson the planner and Benarney the killer? It kind of seemed like it might have been that way.
Yeah.
Because to me, it seems like Benarney was the main.
Agree.
The main killer.
Yeah.
And if that's true, did Anderson have control over Benarney? There was also a thing that said that Benarney didn't have any other friends except for Anderson.
Oh, okay.
But Anderson had other friends. So I don't know if that took part in that.
Yeah.
Thing that gets me is they were planning for a year, but they didn't really plan very well.
Yeah.
To me, it sounds like they were planning to get caught if they were making sure they did it before their 18th birthday.
Yeah, absolutely.
So fucking...
Yeah, it's very weird. They're, I mean, weird is not the word I can...
Yeah.
To describe it, but how they sort of planned this out.
Yeah, but they still have the minds of kids. So you can see that in there as well, because it wasn't fucking planned as well. Did Anderson just watch, or did he take part in it? And then, kind of to go along with that, did one of them use a knife and the other use the bat?
Yeah, so I think Anderson had a part in it. The reason being is because 2 different sets of boot prints in the home. So that's what makes me think that they were both, for sure, both there. They both took a part in it. And like maybe one was the lookout, or one was like, well, we hear someone else moving, so I'm already in here killing her, so go take a bat and take care of this person, or whichever it was.
My last thing kind of goes with that too, is if William was in the room sleeping next to Rose, there was no way only one person could take both of them.
Agreed.
One of them had to attack Rose and the other had to watch or attack William.
Yeah, agree.
The picture, William kind of looks like a bigger guy. And I'm assuming the 2 17-year-olds are smaller. They're not, I'm assuming they're not big guys.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine
them overpowering him.
Yeah. So that's what makes me think that it had to be both of them. And... But the other thing is, how did the neighbors not hear any noise?
Yeah, I don't believe that for a sec. I don't know. I find that hard to believe unless they were also older.
And hard of hearing?
Yeah, individuals. Because I'm looking at...
I mean, it is a suburb.
Yeah.
So...
I'm looking at the picture of William and Rose, and they are older, so I'm assuming if they're... You know, if nobody heard anything, maybe it was because they might have been hard of hearing or something like that.
Yeah.
The only question I had was, these 2 boys were planning this for a year at least. They'd been talking about it for a long time, and their friends just like, oh, it's like at first, like, holy shit, what the fuck are you guys talking about? And then they're like, oh, well, they talked about it a lot, so it's just normal now. So they're not going to do anything they're not going to do anything. Like, it's totally fine. They're just talking shit. Why in the hell would they not report it? Somebody, anybody.
Yeah.
Just like...
The only thing I can think of is maybe they were afraid of them.
That's true. I mean, that's very possible, and
especially if they had a kill list and...
Yeah.
Your name could be put on it.
Yeah. And I keep thinking, like, 97. I would have been 17 at the time. So, yeah, I just, like...
And I mean, in this group, they would talk about doing crime together all the time.
Yeah.
But, I mean...
They just weren't as extreme as those 2 were.
Yeah. I just, like... Murder is another step.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I just don't understand why nobody, even like if they're, I don't know how big the town was, if the school had like a resource officer or anything of that sort, but even just, or telling one of the teachers or something, I don't know. It's very, or even one of their parents. I don't know. It's just very odd to me that nobody mentioned anything. Yeah, to anybody, because it's, why weren't the kids investigated before then?
Yeah.
So that was my only question.
Yeah, who says that's the first family that they killed?
Right.
Yeah, it's Unfortunately, something that probably could have been stopped.
Yeah. Today's second case takes place in the state of West Virginia. Now, this is an unsolved case, so there isn't a whole lot of information. Anita Maria Price was born on March 20th, 1947 in New Jersey. Anita and her family moved to West Virginia in 1951 after her father had passed away. Anita was known for being very kind and outgoing. She loved her family, especially her 2 children, more than anything. Anita lived in an apartment close to where she worked, the Flamingo Club in Benwood, where she was a waitress. Anita had gotten married and had 2 children, 1 daughter, Madonna, and 1 son, Leonard Jr. After the children were born, Anita would seek a divorce. She would move into an apartment in Moundsville that was close to her work. On May 30th, 1974, Anita woke up like every other day and hung out with her children. Anita told her family she loved them and headed out to work at 8:45 p.m. She got into her boyfriend's green 1970s Gremlin, started the engine, and took off. Only she never made it to work. She wasn't back at home either, and she wasn't at her ex-husband's house. Where was Anita? Unfortunately, she has never been heard from or found. The green Gremlin was found the following morning on State Route 2 at 12th Street in McMecken, West Virginia. This route is one of the main ones that is the north-south route along the Ohio River. McMecken is north of Moundsville. Anita's wallet and purse were in the car. Her makeup was spread out over the entire front seat. Nobody reported her missing for 3 days. Not her ex-husband, her boyfriend, friends, or her employer. For 3 days. When the police were contacted, an initial search was never conducted. A search of the green Gremlin was also never conducted. Family and friends did several searches, but nothing was found. Police did, however, interview several people, including Anita's ex-husband. There was a custody battle between Anita and her ex for their 2 young children. The police believed the ex didn't have anything to do with her disappearance, and he was cleared. Family and friends stated that there is no way Anita would just abandon her children. Something had to have happened to her. It appears the case was closed due to lack of evidence, but was reopened again in 2009. A tip came in stating that they knew Anita had been shot to death with a small caliber handgun and buried beneath a telephone pole. This information has not been confirmed. However, cadaver dogs were brought in to do a search around the area where the vehicle was found. The dogs did alert to human remains, but the investigation stalled again. In 2015, another set of cadaver dogs were brought into the same area as before. They also alerted to human remains. Anita's family raised the money to pay for a private contractor to run a ground-penetrating radar. This was to determine if there was any disturbances in the area. There was. The efforts to recover the human remains was stalled in 2015 while funds were being raised. In August 2016, a search party of over 30 people went to Moundsville to continue the search and to dig for who they thought was Anita. Unfortunately, during the search, a clogged drainage pipe was discovered. The pipe was unclogged, and then the contents of the pipe flooded the search area. People tried to fight the water for many hours, but it was just too much. The search and dig had to be stopped until the area could dry out. The search area is located next to a plant that produces gypsum board products. A side note, gypsum board products are basically drywall. The byproduct of gypsum is called silt, and that is what was gumming up the water and pipes. The plant manager was on site with the search team and promised to help get some of the silt removed and would keep Anita's children updated on progress. Madonna stated that the company did keep their word and at that time had removed 5 feet of the silt from the ground. This was when the search team could get back to the search, but they had to act quickly before the silt would begin to cover the area again. March 23rd, 2017 was the last update from Anita's children, and it was posted on their GoFundMe page. We thank you all for your support, but due to many circumstances beyond our control, and after much thought, tears, and prayer, we have decided at this time to suspend our search efforts. This is an update written by my brother, Leonard Price Jr., on behalf of both of us. For those who may not know, understand, or have the proper information, over the course of the last couple of years, the investigation into the disappearance of Anita Price had led us to a site south of Moundsville. This was the same area of interest that a series of small excavations were performed in 2004 to 2006. In 2015, we again performed searches with search dogs. These dogs all alerted to the same area as years before. The underbrush was then removed, and we employed the use of a ground-penetrating radar to search the area. After these tasks were accomplished, we attempted twice at excavating the site. However, twice we were turned back because of water intrusion of the site. The water made the ground unstable and unsafe. Long discussions were had on the proper equipment needed and process to try to excavate the site. At this point, it was obvious that it would be a complicated and very expensive endeavor. Therefore, a decision had to be made to continue with the excavation or suspend the operations. A full review was done of the entire case file, including audio tapes of police interviews. It was my decision at that point to get clarification on some questions concerning the case. Some of the questions surrounded Bobby Elkins. His statement to the police in 2005 did not coincide with the court documents from 1973 to 1974. His statement to the police indicated he did not know that she had moved from a house into an apartment. However, Bobby was seen at the apartment on 3 separate occasions by private investigators from October to January. Bobby's move to Cleveland. He vacated his apartment, gave away his car, quit his job, and even left his final paycheck uncollected. This move happened less than 1 week from the date she was reported missing. Bobby was quoted as saying, "Lola and Terry didn't want me to be in Moundsville alone." Bobby also reported taking items from Anita's apartment before he left town. So on March 19th, 2017, I decided to travel to Cleveland to ask for an explanation of why he would not tell the police about her apartment, why he moved from town so quickly, and why he would remove items from her apartment. The move to Cleveland and the quote were subject to question, because why would a brother leave town so abruptly, less than a week after his sister was missing? And further, why would he remove items from her apartment? It was my opinion that before proceeding with any final decision on a possible excavation, these questions, along with others, should be asked and answered. This was done in an attempt to add additional information to the case as well as close a few holes. This information would then be weighed to help make a decision. So Anita's children decided to not continue with the excavation. So there's still a possibility that they could either raise enough money or I don't know.
So did they figure out the questions that she asked Bobby?
That's what I was wanting to know. I did not find the answers to any of that. That was just what was put on the GoFundMe as a quote to all of the people that have donated time and money. There's a lot of unanswered questions.
Yeah.
And
are they keeping it to themselves? Which
yeah.
They have every right to do so.
Right. And that's what I was kind of wondering, because there didn't appear to be a whole lot of information on this case. Also, there doesn't appear to be a whole lot of investigating going on in the case. So, but it is an older case as well. It's from the 70s. I looked up the size of the town. It is a smaller town, but it's not like some of the smaller towns that we've talked about. It seemed like at the time it was close to anywhere between 3,000 and 10,000 people at that time. So I don't know how big their police force was.
that's still a decent sized town
Right, it is,
compared
yeah.
to some of the other towns
Right.
that we've come across on cases.
Mm-hmm. So unfortunately, there wasn't any more information on Anita, what happened to Anita,
Yeah.
why wasn't the car investigated. Anita was only 27 when she disappeared. Anita has 2 children, 9 grandchildren, and 2 great-grandchildren at the time of this.
The Post?
Yeah, at the time of this update, which was 2017, I believe.
Yeah.
Someone definitely knows what happened to Anita. If you know anything, even if you think it is a small detail, please call the West Virginia State Police at the Moundsville Station at 304-329-1101. And this has been like all over the place, but it's because there's not a whole lot of information, and so older cases are difficult to track down information, and therefore so many questions remain unanswered.
Yes.
So some of the questions I have is, why did Bobby move out of state? What did he take from his sister's apartment?
Yes.
Was he investigated at all?
Obviously not.
Yeah. And what does he know about his sister's disappearance? So clearly Bobby knew something, or he was just a dirtbag and saw an opportunity and stole from his sister.
And scooted town, basically.
I'm assuming the people that Bobby said, Lola, and I'm assuming might be her mom and stepdad.
Okay.
Because her father died when she was around 4, so it could be mom and stepdad. I'm not 100% sure.
I'm going back to up to earlier. It's just they posted this on March 23rd, 2017, and then she says she went and visited Bobby on March 19th.
Yeah.
So that's a good couple days.
And no information is given. So I don't know if like the police were like, don't say anything, or they don't want to say anything until,
or he confessed to something, but they don't want to do anything about it.
Yeah.
It's thrown my brain for a loop.
Same. I am also a little, like, I don't know, for someone who was, clearly I'm all over the place too.
Yeah, I have a whole list of questions. Some of them are the same as yours. Some of them are a little different.
So Anita is, very loving. Everybody loved her. Her friends, her family, co-workers. Why didn't anyone report her missing sooner? So it took 3 days.
3 whole days.
Yeah. And especially like her boyfriend number 1, like, where were the kids at?
Yeah.
Did the kids go to their dad's then? And he wasn't like, where the fuck is my girlfriend? Or where the fuck is my car? Or anything. Like 3 days. 3 days is a long time.
Yeah.
And so I was wondering, well, was this something that she did often? I don't think that is the case, though, because her family, all of her family, said she was very dedicated to her 2 children and she would not leave her children. So something obviously happened to her. But still, why didn't anybody report her missing sooner? Like,
yeah, that makes no sense at all. And do you know why they got divorced?
I don't know. I was trying to look up that information too, and I scraped together what I could for this. I'm assuming the ex-husband's name is Leonard, since the son is Leonard Jr.
Yeah, maybe. It has me thinking it didn't seem like they investigated him at all, so could he played a part in it? And did he take part in searching?
Yeah, like, was he one that was, and the brother, were they both like, oh, let us help,
Well, obviously not the brother, because he ditched town.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, he did. He packed up and hightailed it out of there, didn't he?
Which is really suspicious.
Yeah. That's what I don't know if the brother had a drug problem and he went and stole a bunch of stuff that he thought he could steal. Like, I really have no idea. This is a case that I hope in the future we have an update for.
Yeah. Another thing is, if her brother was robbing her, like taking things for money, why wouldn't he take her wallet from the car?
Yeah. Unless he didn't know where it was parked. I don't know who found the car. That's the other thing. I don't know who found her car. But her car was found before she was reported missing. She went missing May 30th. The car was found May 31st. But she wasn't reported missing until, June 2nd?
That makes no fucking sense. Yeah. It just, was she taken from the car, or was she not reported right away because someone in the family or friends said they seen her this day?
Yeah.
This cases.
Yeah. And the kids would have been too young to really remember a whole lot because they were both young at the time.
But, I mean, they still had to know something was wrong. Like, I haven't seen Mom for this many days. Right.
One of the other questions I had, or I grouped them into sections because there were so many.
Yeah.
Why hadn't the police done any of the things that the family did? Is it possible for the police to do a recovery? Because if the family already paid for, through donations and volunteers, like paid for all that stuff, why can't the police do a recovery? Like, if they do the cadaver dogs are pointing to there being human remains down there. They did a scan, and there's definitely a disturbance in the area. So I don't understand why the police can't go from there.
Well, the first search with cadaver dogs, wasn't that the police that did that, or was both times family?
I think both times were family. I think. No, because the kids still. I honestly don't know. It might have been police.
If it was police, why wouldn't they search it? Yeah. They do it in multiple other cases.
I'm assuming it wasn't the police, because I imagine that if it was, they would have
done something.
Yeah, they would have done something.
But if it was the police and they did nothing, then that's another whole issue. Yeah. Well, and like you said, with the family doing everything, like, why couldn't the police just aid in it? Yeah. Especially if they were paying for it themselves.
Yeah. I honestly don't know. I don't know if there's so many unknowns that I can't, unfortunately, answer. I hope we are able to, though. I would
eventually. Yeah. Another question is, who made the tip in 2009?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Who made the tip, and were they investigated? Because, I mean, it just said nothing. Yeah, it just says nothing was. It hasn't been confirmed, and it's like, why not?
Yeah. My last little thing is, if she's actually buried there, could it have been someone that knew there was piping there?
Yeah. So that's what I was wondering too, because, and one of my thoughts was it the manager? Because he was there helping, and like, but he said he was
keeping the family updated, but he could have been just making it stuff up.
Yeah. Or especially trying to get, he tells them like, okay, well, you have this amount of time to get here before the silt builds up again, which I understand that completely. And to get that many people, plane, train, automobile, whatever, it's all going to be expensive to get them there. And how much time that they said they had a couple of weeks before it built up again, I'm assuming. So yeah, it's just really.
Yeah. Or was it someone who was working at that place at the time?
Yeah, like a regular to the Flamingo Club.
That's pretty much all the questions that I can think of. I'll probably think of more later on.
Yeah, same. I don't have any other questions. I am still reeling from
all that information or
lack of information. Yeah. I do hope that this is one that we can provide an update for in the future.
goes on our ongoing list of updates we're waiting for.
Yes.
We both really hope that we do get updates.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to mention that we are now on YouTube. As of this episode, we are not up to date on YouTube. I think we're up to episode 35. I'm slowly getting there. Slowly working on it. But eventually, hopefully, we'll get updated and we'll probably release on YouTube the same days as Spotify. And again, sorry I sound like shit. Hopefully by next recording I sound better.
Yeah.
Our hearts go out to the victims in both these cases and all the individuals affected. With that is all we have for today. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions or comments, you can find us on Spotify, YouTube, and Instagram at GirlsGoneCuriousPodcast. Until next time.